Gypsies and spiritual wanderers. This is Mocha Gypsy, and today we're diving into something that comes up a lot, especially for those of us who walk between the worlds. When should you use magic to change your reality? And when should you trust the will of God or the universe to lead you? Let's talk about the real pros and cons of each path from someone who've lived both. Let's start with the benefits of doing magic and following your own will. When magic works, you get the outcome you wanted. You're not waiting, you're acting. You get the job, the lover, the peace of mind, the shift in your circumstances your way. That's powerful. But the downside, when you step in and take control, you might bypass something that was meant to grow you. Maybe the hardship you were facing was a sacred fire meant to refine you. Maybe it was part of a divine design that would have led to an unexpected beauty, a new friend, a hidden opportunity, a location or change that alters your whole life. But because you altered reality, you may never know what those jewels were. I'll use myself as an example. Back when I was going through absolute hell in Wyoming with my daughter's custody case, the corruption, the injustice, I didn't know magic yet. And I was just praying and holding on. But going through that storm forced me to rise into my power. It forged my spirit. It showed me how resilient I really am. And today, I'm living in paradise in Costa Rica. Something I never would have imagined at the time. So even though it was painful and traumatic letting life unfold without interference in the beginning, it showed me who I really was. But let's be real. Surrendering to God's will doesn't always guarantee a fairy tale ending. There are paths where people lose everything. There are times where you suffer or even die, waiting on divine timing. It's a gamble either way. And here's the part that many people overlook. Even when you're surrendering to what's meant to be, you still have a soul. And your soul is not separate from God. It comes from God. So, deep down at the soul level, you already know which path is aligned for you. That's where spiritual discernment comes in. You can choose to trust that your higher self, your soul, already knows the truth. And if what you're destined for doesn't sit right with you, if it feels like suffering, destruction, or a permanent downfall, you have the right to renegotiate that contract. Even Jesus, before the crucifixion, said, "Let this cup pass from me." We forget that part. So yes, you can ask for a new outcome. You can petition for a different timeline. You can work magic, pray, or manifest your way into a new possibility. You don't have to just accept what's been handed to you, especially if it feels wrong in your spirit. Some people try to use divination as a way to figure it all out. Like, should I do the spell or should I wait? But here's the thing no one tells you. You can't accurately divine a future that hasn't been rewritten yet. When you do magic, you literally change the fabric of reality. So, how can you look ahead at something that hasn't been reshaped yet? Where divination does help is with the present moment. Before you do that breakup spell, divine whether the person is really cheating. Before you do a job spell, divine whether you'd actually enjoy the job if you got it. Divination is great for clarity, but not guarantees. Now, here's another scenario, one that's incredibly common. What if things you thought you wanted would have been a complete disaster? I can look back now and say, almost every boyfriend I had since high school, I thought they were the one. I was ready for commitment, marriage, all of it. But with time and spiritual growth, I realized, thank God those relationships didn't work out. Many of those men were not stable, not healthy, and were not for me. And let me tell you, Facebook confirmed it. Looking at where they are now, I would have been miserable. So, had I done love magic on any of them back then, and it worked, woo, I dodged a bullet I didn't even see coming. And another truth of the spiritual path, sometimes divine rejection is God's protection, as they say. So, how do you decide? Which is better, your will or the will of the divine? There's no hard rule. It comes down to your intuition, your discernment, and sometimes your non-negotiables. Let me explain. When I was still in Wyoming, in the middle of that custody nightmare, I tried evangelical prayer, and things actually got worse. I was up against a narcissistic ex, a corrupt little town, and a system that wasn't built to protect people like me. And what was non-negotiable for me was my daughter's safety. And that's what pushed me deeper into my spiritual work halfway through my ordeal. That's when I started developing my psychic abilities more intentionally and eventually, yes, started doing magic. Not because I wanted to control everything, but because the situation demanded action. I did a calming head spell on my ex just to make visitations safer for my daughter and to make our interactions drama-free. And little by little, spell by spell, I shifted my path until it led me here. So ask yourself, what's non-negotiable in your life right now? Is it your health, your child's well-being, escape from an abusive situation, keeping a roof over your head? If it's non-negotiable and you feel called to act, then yes, use magic. Now, on the other hand, maybe it's not life or death. Maybe it's something making your life a little smoother. Wanting a raise, attracting a date with your crush, easing tension at work. In that case, why not? Go for it. But even then, sometimes the small things we try to change are part of a bigger story, and you must acknowledge that. Maybe tolerating that annoying coworker would have landed you in a new department, which would have introduced you to someone life-changing. That one irritation could have been the breadcrumb that led to your destiny. So again, there are no easy answers. This path, whether you're casting spells or surrendering to the divine, it's a dance. And no two dances are the same. Sometimes your soul will say, let God move. Sometimes your soul will say, light a candle and take the reins. And sometimes your soul will say, ask for a new cup. This one is too bitter. The important thing is to take conscious action and own the consequences and the victories of whatever you choose. And if you're already decided magic is the tool you want to use, I'm here for you. Visit mochagypsymagic.com to work with me one-on-one. You can find the link below in the description or in the pinned comment. Blessings to you, no matter which road you choose. May your steps be guided, your will be strong, and your soul ever sovereign. Be blessed.